Hello, hello, my garden friends. I have so many things that are waking up and starting to go into bloom here in my garden on Long Island. And I want to show you a couple of the tropical plants that I'm starting to bring outside and acclimate during mild days, and which ones can stay outside all spring long from this point forward. First, I'm going to turn the camera. I want to show you my Camellia. I featured this in my last video, but it has really come into bloom since then. So what you're looking at here is one Camellia, Ashton's High Rise, which is really starting to prove to me that maybe I shouldn't be such a snob about big flowers, because these flowers are small but so adorable. These are starting to fade, but yesterday they looked amazing, and this one's just opening up. I think it's really adorable. I am absolutely loving this cultivar. I cannot get enough of this. I did get some damage from my variegated cast iron plant, a combination of drought stress as well as cold stress, but it's looking okay. Look at these beautiful leaves. It's an amazing plant. It does stay evergreen in our climate here on Long Island, New York. I have the green ones outside in the ground, but I do love the variegated ones, so I do bring it inside during colder weather. This is my larger Camellia flower, R.L. Wheeler. Look at how big the flowers on this one have gotten. Just get bigger and bigger as the season progresses. And they're really, really complex and beautiful colors. I'm really loving this. If you noticed in the background, that grassy looking plant, that's a New Zealand flax, a very rare plant to see growing in the eastern United States. You'll see them growing on the West Coast, but for some reason, they're not popular in the eastern US. I figured maybe it couldn't handle our humidity, but it did beautifully last summer in my garden. I overwintered it in the garage. It saw frost and freezes, and it handled it like a champ. So get this Tobey Dazzler cordyline. This is a less cold tolerant version of cordyline australis. However, it handled the winter beautifully. It actually got down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can see the leaves were damaged by the snow. Actually, the entire crown collapsed in the snow, and it's grown leaves inside the garage during the wintertime, mind you, and just is looking really good right now. A flower that you might want to grow as an annual is Primrose. It's actually a perennial and it should come back next year, but it also works really well as an annual if you just want to replace them with some longer lasting summer color. I have some really, really beautiful looking crocus in this container that I planted last fall. So all of these are good outside all year long, along with this fuchsia. This fuchsia has the most beautiful bleeding heart shaped flowers, and it's an upright variety. I wish I had the name of it for you. I cannot remember, so if you know, drop a comment. I love these beautiful flowers. These are called Osterspermum. Osterspermum, also African daisy, can actually survive some pretty cold temperatures. Mine survived some snow last year, and I had it in the garage, and it's still nice and green, and it's actually starting to bloom. But these are new ones that I just bought. Pansies are so underrated. I planted a few this spring, but I planted a bunch back in the fall, and not only did they stay green all winter, but they're actually starting to bloom again. Just what's even more remarkable is the fact that these plants survived the winter, and their tags didn't even survive the winter. So pretty cool plant. Let me show you what they look like. So this was advertised as springback violas. And it says if you establish in the landscape in the fall, it's hardy to zone 5 and it will come back in the spring. Well, let me tell you, it did. But yeah, no, this container was outside all winter long. All winter long. I didn't put it in the garage. It lived its best life. And now it's starting to sprout back. We've got these beautiful lemon colors. It's just amazing. What is even more remarkable is that I actually left some pansies inside their little 4-inch pots. You see those little 4-inch cells? I actually left them in there all winter long, and they actually survived some pansies, and I replanted them. So as you can see, they're still just starting to sprout back. These are going to produce some beautiful yellow flowers. So this is kind of what it looks like after a really cold winter, but during mild winters, or if you just keep them in the garage like I did for these, they'll already be in bloom. These actually never really stopped blooming. They are blooming much more vigorously though now that it's back outside. It's not always very happy in the garage. So you can see some of the flowers are beaten up, but we do have lots of buds on the way, and it's much bigger because it stayed in the garage and didn't get exposed to quite as much cold. But I'm just absolutely loving these blooms. Just an amazing plant that you have to grow. This, by the way, is eucalyptus glacier ice, I believe is the variety, and it is a new variety. I've never seen these for sale before. It has that beautiful eucalyptus scent, but it is allegedly more cold tolerant than your typical eucalyptus. We'll see. I will tell you, even in the garage, it did get some damage to the leaves, but it's still a tiny sapling. Maybe one day I'll put it in the ground, put it to the test. But right now it's in a container, and this eucalyptus can stay outside in frost and freezes. This entire container is very frost and freeze tolerant. All the plants in here prefer the cooler weather. I'm starting a lot of seedlings this year. Unfortunately, it's been tough to keep up with the watering, so I lost about half of the zinnia seedlings, but I always plant more than I can handle anyway, so I've got more than enough zinnias popping up. But yeah, not the prettiest looking seedlings. The peppers look great. Those are a lot older and more established. My basil's looking really good too. We're doing purple basil. I have 3 different types of eggplant. For the most part, that's doing really well. And I also have some tomatoes. I think these are at least two different variety of tomato. And these are looking great. So these are outside getting some sun and some warm weather, and then they're back under grow lights. I'm going to be planting my cilantro in a few days. It, of course, stays outside at this point and is looking really good. And it can handle temperatures down to 20 degrees. So, love cilantro. I just haven't had time to plant it actually in this container yet, but it's been outside now for like the better part of the entire spring. Really, I think since the first week of March, I have it outside. I'm very excited to start planting lots of fruits and veggies in my front lawn. I want to really put my front lawn to work. I already have some stuff in the ground, and you can plant these now. I talked about this, I believe, in an earlier video, and I am really just so happy with the way that it's going so far. So I'm digging up some grass. I need to throw that into the compost, well, not the compost bin. I'm just gonna recycle the grass. And this is my broccoli rabe. This is my purple cauliflower. All of it's looking really good. I'm gonna have a hose running here because I'm gonna set up an a drip irrigation system, and life is gonna be good. These handle frost and freezes just fine. The tulips are coming up. We're not quite there yet, but they're coming up and living their best life soon. A whole bundle of tulips over here, and they are going to be in bloom very soon. First, we'll have the daffodils bloom. It's a little late for daffodils. Different varieties bloom at different times, and most of my neighbors' daffodils are already blooming. These are a little bit later, maybe because they're in shade. But then after that will be the tulips, and I get, honestly, like probably 6 weeks of color because I plant different types of bulbs and they bloom at different times. All right, so we'll end back with some of these pretty flowers. You might be wondering again why I have these camellias in containers. You should definitely watch that video because I was a definite camellia in container denier. I wanted camellias in the ground so that way I could say, hey, I'm growing camellias in the ground and they look great. But I actually prefer them in containers because right now they are the superstar of the garden and I have them right where I can see them. But when they fade in a few weeks, they get to go in the background and look beautiful there. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Really means a lot to me. Like this video, subscribe. It helps so much. I never realized how much it helped until I started making YouTube videos. It's everything when it comes to being able to produce more content, because if people can't see it, then they, unfortunately get lost in the world of YouTube. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and enjoy the warm weather if you've got it, because I only got it for 2 more hours. Bye.